start as a turntable. It's like you're listening to your song end, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna start. You had to reverse the beginning of the track, and then you had to give a little push because turntable motors are not like CD motors. They didn't start up to speed,
Right.
so you had to give a little push to go ahead and get them up to speed. So by the time the mix happens, there is your fun, obsolete fact of the day. I'm going to tell you how to edit reel-to-reel tape. I can do that too.
Oh my God.
A lot of good it'll do you.
Who knows? Could make a comeback. I mean,
It could.
Paul Ravenwood, he's got cassette tapes.
I'm sure Paul's going to start
Who
trading reel-to-reels soon.
I would love it.
You
Do
know,
it.
we thought the cassette tapes were a little too mainstream, so we went with reel-to-reel.
Yep. Reel-to-reel's great, by the way.
It's great, excellent sound quality.
I mean reel-to-reel like the...
Oh, the theater?
Theater.
I was there just the other day. Last week, I saw Valerian.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a good movie, but, here we go. Let's talk about writing again.
I love
And
it.
let's talk about common problems that people just don't seem to get. Valerian was a thoroughly enjoyable movie, even at 2 hours and 20 minutes long. The whole thing to me, I'm a big sci-fi fan. The whole thing to me, though, moved, and it was okay, but it was so badly written.
Oh, no.
Luckily, the visuals and the action, whoever came up with the core concept from the comics, they lifted that, and that was right. But the betrayal of this movie, the reason nobody went to see this movie, it was gone in weeks, is because it has one of the worst romances I've ever seen on film. The girl, the love interest, she is a really good actress, and even though they try to make her seem tough by acting like a man, which is, to me, that's another bad writing. It's not a bad writing right there. It's just she gets kind of tough and talks like a guy would, and it's not. But okay, I'm gonna give him that. But Valerian, the dude, he's got this beautiful, super intelligent scientist who is like next level brilliant, who is crazy about him. She starts off in a swimsuit in the movie, so she's beautiful, and he's like, you know, you all right? Yeah, all right. And that is the most emotion you get out of the guy through the entire thing. You know, I want to marry you.
If a guy said that to me like that, I'd punch him in his fucking nose.
He deserved to be punched in his fucking nose. I mean, I in the theater went, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
But then the action begins and the story gets going and everything else.
Yeah.
Although Rihanna's in it.
Oh. Was she good?
Who knows?
Hard to tell with bad writing.
You know,
that's what's shitty about bad writing.
Yeah.
Is that it makes good actors bad.
And this wasn't bad. There was nothing wrong with what Rihanna did.
Right.
She obviously had a free day.
Yeah. She was like,
and they put her in front of a green screen. But it's like the conversation went like this to get Rihanna in the movie. Hey, Luke, I got Rihanna. She's got a free weekend. You got a place for her in your movie? And Luke Besson is like, oh shit, I have Rihanna. Yeah, send her on over. Quick, make up something for Rihanna to do. And that was it.
Out later, though.
Yeah. It all come out in post, and so it's just shoehorned.
Yeah. Oh no.
And I mean, it's like, hey guys, we got Rihanna. Is that part of the movie?
It's just Rihanna cameo time.
You could cut out that entire section, and the movie would be better.
Well, yeah, especially if it was 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the character that she represents obviously was important in the comic, but this was about, hey kids, Rihanna, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Rihanna.
I mean, I like Rihanna.
She was awesome in it. God, she's gorgeous in it.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
But that's a whole... She just keeps changing outfits. She was a shape changer, and she just wears different hot outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was there for TNA also a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And her stuff was dubbed. Obviously, we want you to record these 500 random phrases, and we'll just use the ones that work.
Just whatever.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but it was just... It should have been a good movie, but bad writing, bad, unbelievable. writing so bad. It's like, who thought this was a good idea?
Was it the dialogue that was a problem, or just
the dialogue? You know, if you put Keanu Reeves in the lead character, who this guy, let's face it, was a cheap Keanu Reeves. They couldn't afford Keanu.
A poor man's Keanu Reeves.
But they got a guy that sounded just like him. And
why?
if you put Keanu Reeves in there, a guy who can pull off that angst and the John Wick kind of just stand there like, I'm really unhappy, dude. It might have worked.
Yeah.
Because he would have gone, I want you to like totally marry me. And she would have been like, dude.
God.
And he'd be like, dude. I think the Keanu movie.
We're just writing our own movie now.
That's my Keanu version of Valerian. I don't know. Nobody cares about Valerian.
God. I'd never even heard of it, so.
It was a French comic book, something like that. Oh, hey. I got stuff for my gig this weekend. Just came in. It was a French comic book they made into a movie. I love the director because he did The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
He did. We watched Delicatessen, City of Lost Children.
And who was that actor?
Oh,
not the actor, the director.
That's Luc Besson.
Luc Besson. Oh, okay.
He's the guy that directed Valerian.
Oh,
Same guy.
Yes, okay. Now, who is the actor?
The actor.
That actor. I saw him recently.
He is one of my favorites.
And he is amazing. He's so. There's not a word to describe him. Really, if you've never watched Delicatessen, if you've ever seen Amelie, Delicatessen is the same.
Same director,
and, same writer,
and Besson would use the same performers in movies in different roles.
Delicatessen, awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
That's the actor. No, that's not the actor.
No,
Who's
I'm
the
wrong.
actor?
I am completely wrong.
At least
in front of the whole world again. Jean-Pierre Jeunet did Delicatessen and City of Lost Children. Luc Besson did the Professional.
Okay. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, I don't know enough. Like, I'll know the directors I like.
Dominique Pignon is the actor you're thinking of.
Dominique Pignon. Click on his thing, because I want to see what I saw him in recently.
He was in Alien Resurrection was not the best Alien movie, but he was fantastic in it. Actor.
Story. Outlander. He was an Outlander.
Oh, I didn't see Outlander. I'll need to watch that.
It's pretty good. I think I've described it maybe to you like this. Outlander is it's really good, but it is kind of like the fever dream of a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Of a horny teenage
right.
girl.
Okay.
It is very good. I think it's pretty well written, and it's enjoyable. It's about this woman who accidentally time travels to Clan Scotland, and it is very good. But it definitely has like a teenager,
a little fantasy element to it,
a little teenagery fantasy bit to it that makes it a bit of a guilty pleasure, I think.
Steven says Luc Besson also directed The Transporters. I have always gotten these two French directors confused.
What, do you think all French people look alike?
No, I think they all make movies exactly the same.
That's worse. Oh my god.
Oh nope, that was Steven. I'm glad I'm not the only one that gets it wrong.
Oh.
That was Corey Yoon. We're participating in the internet's ability to just deliver completely inaccurate information.
This is us just being wrong. This
is me being wrong. I'll take it.
I was trying to help.
But
share the burden.
But you're all right. Let's talk about one thing we agree on. Dominique Pignon, fantastic. If you haven't seen Delicatessen, if you haven't seen
Amelie.
City of Lost Children.
Oh, yeah.
Delicatessen, City of Lost Children are both kind of companion movies.
Yeah.
But he is fantastic in City of Lost Children.
He is very expressive. He's a funny-looking man that you just...
He's a clown.
He's a clown.
He has the face of a natural clown.
And he's so good at it. He's so expressive. He's so good. I would watch any movie he was in.
Yeah.
Except apparently the Alien Resurrection, which is not very good.
He was great in that one. It was not a good movie, great. But he was great in it.
He's great. He's a fantastic actor.
And I got a kick out of it just because I love the director. But that's the only movie I've seen in a while was Valerian, and that was I remember what I was going to do.
I keep meaning to go see The Big Sick because it's at Reel to Reel now.
I looked at that after you told me about it. That does look pretty good.
And I love Kumail. I'm not going to try to say his last name.
I can't say his name.
I can't say it when I'm drunk. That's the problem.
Okay. Stephen, you were partially right. He did Transporter 2. Luc Besson did Transporter 2. My favorite movie, one of my favorite movies ever is The Professional.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies ever is The Fifth Element, and he did those. And they have those surreal touches like Jeunet, but his stuff is a little more...
Right.
A little more grounded in reality, but heightened. He's doing the Transporter Refueled.
Oh, did he do Taken 3? Was there Taken 3?
Oh, there's no end to the Takens.
Why?
He did Taken 2. He wrote Taken 2, I think. Wait, let's just go to director here.
Let's see.
Oh, oops. These are in what order? There it is. Writer. God.
Look. He's good. Oh, hey.
I don't know.
Jason.
Hey, it's Jason. Good to see you, Jace. Yeah, Luc Besson is fantastic.
He's great.
Okay, now I'm looking at his directing stuff. Oh, La Femme Nikita. He did the original of that, which is a great movie.
Oh! Speaking of, I have no idea if this is even remotely related. Guess who's coming back as James Bond?
I saw this.
I am so excited.
I'm excited too. In fact, there was a great quote. I think it was on JamesBond.com. Sorry, go ahead. The new 007 is going to be
Daniel Craig
back in
is my favorite Bond.
He may not be my favorite Bond, but I think he's great.
It's fine that he's not yours, but he's my favorite Bond.
That's right on.
And, I do think that might be a generational thing. I think everyone is sort of... I think everyone tends to like the Bond of their initial Bond experience.
Exposure, yeah. And I love Sean Connery.
I think that's true of Doctor Who, too.
Yeah, I think that's very true of Doctor Who. You're the first Doctor you see is your doctor.
Right, it's your doctor.
Yeah. But I loved Sean Connery, and then it wasn't until the late 70s on TV when it came on, I saw On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
And that movie is the only one to star George Lazenby.
Yeah.
George Lazenby, no one had ever heard of him, and suddenly this guy's playing James Bond. And it is, to me, it has, of the original Bonds, it has the most heart. Bond is a flawed man who he falls in love, he gets married, the bad guys are so evil. They're actually, the bad guys are gay. They're kind of caricatures because it was the 70s, but they were dealt with seriously. They were not just made into comic relief, and that was really big in the early 70s. And so much going on with this movie, and I only realized it as I got older. And then I learned the story of George Lazenby. A total fraud. He was just a guy that wanted to be in movies, and he showed up at the James Bond production offices and convinced everyone that he was this big actor, walked in with just pure bravado without ever acting his entire life, and he gets cast as James Bond.
I love it.
And he pulls it off. He became a drunk. He started getting all these women, and he almost couldn't finish the movie because he was just this schmo. He was a working class.
Artist.
Yeah, he was total con artist who was just pulling one over on all of them, and it still turned out to be one of the greatest James Bond movies overall.
I've never seen that one. That's so funny.
There's a documentary. It's on Hulu. I'll look it up. What did Steven just say?
Steven just said Sean Connery and Daniel Craig are the two best Bonds. Pierce Brosnan was also pretty good. Pierce Brosnan was also pretty good. I don't like him so much as Bond, but when I was a kid, he was one of my my first three crushes. He's in my first three crushes.
Right on.
But I knew him more from Mrs. Doubtfire.
I was a kid of the '80s. I knew Pierce Brosnan from Remington Steele.
Yeah. I didn't know him from Bond until I got a little older.
And I've been a movie geek for a long time, so Remington Steele, it looked like, was going to get canceled.
Yeah.
And there was serious talk that Pierce Brosnan was going to be the next Bond. Mm-hmm. And then it was announced Pierce Brosnan is going to be your next Bond, and this is in the late 80s, and Remington Steele would not let him out of his contract.
Right.
And so the next one became Timothy Dalton instead of Pierce Brosnan, but he eventually got his turn, and I was so happy because I love GoldenEye. That's one of the best Bond movies to me.
Yeah, to me, Daniel Craig will always be the...
He's great. Oh,
so good.
Bringing it back to reality.
Yeah.
And my gosh, they had the original Q in the first two movies.
Yeah.
And Desmond Llewellyn, I just turned to... When I saw those in the theater, I turned to mush because the man was in his 90s at the time. And he was the Bond through Sean Connery, Roger Moore, and then they kind of got off the track. But he would come back a little bit, and they did it right.
I just hope... So when Spectre came out...
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz was asked if he'd be, oh shit, I'm drunk, I can't remember. If he would be in another one, as what is his character's name?
I
just can't think of it because I know I can't think of it right now because I've been drinking. But so he was asked if he'd do it again, and I believe he said he would do it again if Daniel Craig stayed.
I remember seeing that because there's some unfinished business there.
Because so I am waiting with bated breath to hear that he's coming back as
Christoph
as
Blofeld. Of course, Blofeld, the original.
I know. That's what I knew when it was one of those things. So I pray to God he does. I don't even believe in God.
I hope so.
I hope he does because he made a fantastic Blofeld.
He redefined, to me, Blofeld is always the Charles Gray, the Donald Pleasance, can you tell I'm a huge James Bond fan? I mean, other kids had Star Wars and I had James Bond.
Yeah.
But in the line of those, he brought something new and dangerous. He made Blofeld dangerous and scary again, and that's what it's about.
Christoph Waltz is so good at scary.
Mm-hmm.
Just
standing there.
And not even like I'm feeling terrified, but just that sort of chilly scary, like, ooh, oh.
He's got an edge that you're not going to reason with. You're not going to get around it, and he's probably already thought of what you're about to do next.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I really hope the next one.
I'd forgotten about it.
And I was so happy with Spectre because Skyfall was such a huge, it was so good that you feel like the only way is down.
They just went in another direction.
Right. Spectre, I wouldn't even say it was up, worse, or better. It's just different, and it's so good.
And I'm not getting any younger myself, and when I see James Bond, he'd been this tough guy in all these movies, and now Bond is like, I'm just a little tired. I just need a little breather here. I was like, you're my James Bond, James Bond.
Yeah, I want to see him in a Lazy Boy at some point. Just flipping through, stopping for a second on some terrible...
America's Top Model.
Yeah, or some terrible reality show. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, Ray Fiennes is M. Bernard... No, not Bernard. The original M, again, was another great actor of his time, and he was through Sean Connery, Roger Moore. Ray Fiennes stepped into that character actually after Dame Judi Dench, who also killed as that character, and Ray Fiennes just brings back the old officious, snooty,
so good,
dangerous person. Love it.
So good.
And the new Q is cool. I like that kid. He really sells it for not being Bernard.
And I liked Moneypenny. I love her.
I love Moneypenny. Let's go to Moneypenny's page, shall we? Yeah, there she is. I love Moneypenny. She's great.
She's great. Oh, I didn't know she was in Moonlight. I haven't seen Moonlight yet.
I didn't either.
To see it.
I'm told it's really good. A friend of mine saw it. Oh, she was in 28 Days Later.
I didn't see that.
If there's a zombie movie that could happen, it's 28 Days Later, because everyone just goes mad with rage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, and so it's not, people aren't undead. They're just they're hyper alive, not undead.
Oh, shoot.
Uh-oh. Got a sneeze stuck?
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, it is. I hate it.
I hate that.
I do that all the time.
I have friends who will be like, bless you, before you sneeze, and then it ruins it, and then it's stuck, and I'm like, I hate you so much.
Darn it. The devil wanted that one out. You blocked it.
With your voodoo. Oh my God.
The Becoming Bond, that was the movie. I think.
I want to do that.
It's a docudrama. I think that's the one about George Lazenby. Yeah. Becoming Bond tells the unlikely story of George Lazenby, a charismatic Australian fashion model who fibbed his way into starring in the 1969 classic On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Though many Bond aficionados consider it one of the best entries in the series, Lazenby stunned audiences around the world when he walked away from the role after just one film.
I mean, that's... I respect that guy.
I do too,
so
absolutely.
Much.
I'm a fraud, and I would love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really... Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, half of the opportunities I've ever had is just me walking in and saying, so, when do we start? And people don't know how to tell me no.
Yeah, they're just like, oh shit.
Oh, he's here. I guess we'd
maybe I need to start doing
better
that.
shuffle some papers and get started then.
Oh my goodness.
It's sad, but sadly true.
I think that's true though of especially any freelancer. There is a certain period of your career where you are just making it the fuck up.
Oh, yeah. I've been making it up for 20 years, but
yeah.
It's working, so I'm going to keep making it up.
Right. I'm finally every time I think I'm getting out of it, of making stuff up, when I get new projects that I haven't done before, it's like, I feel like 16-year-old again. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh.
I've got a project coming up. It's editing the soundtrack to a show. I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about being a musician, but somehow
you have this gig.
Here I am. I've got a gig mixing together this soundtrack to make a show come to life, and I feel like, again, and this is how I know I'm on the right track, whenever I feel like I'm a total fraud.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
When I feel like I'm completely out of my depth and I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm like, this is where I need to be.
I have a good friend named Brad Batt. I know some of you in the chat room know Brad Batt. He's hard not to know if you meet him. He's a very big, tall, loud Texan. He'd say Louisianan. That's not.
That counts.
Louisianan.
Louisianan.
But anyway, he's an entrepreneur, and he always says, if you're feeling scared, you're in the right place.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like, as an entrepreneur or as a freelancer. And so now, every time I feel scared, I'm like, you know what? I'm doing exactly what I should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, my announcing was one of those things that the first 5 times I did it, I hated myself. Yeah. I loathed myself. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was the worst that had ever been. Yeah. And it was only after feeling like a fraud for close to, God, 10, a dozen gigs, and these were all just roller derby, just for people I knew. This was my team. It was only after doing that a while I was like, well, nobody else seems to think I suck,
right?
But me.
Yeah.
They're the ones that want me to stay, and I don't want to go. So I'm just going to keep sucking until they tell me to stop.
Or until you get better.
Yeah, and it turned out that what was happening was I was getting better because I was worried about being the worst. And so now, it's 10 years later, I actually feel like I have some competence in it. Yeah. And I don't know where that change came, but it took a lot of work.
It does happen, and that's the thing with it. When you talk to people who have stopped being an entrepreneur, stopped being an artist, most of the time, I'd say most of the time, it's because they quit too soon.
There is that. You got to push
You have to push through the feeling shitty about yourself. You have to push through the feeling of being a fraud. Because really, the only people who succeed in being an artist or an entrepreneur are people who are just so fucking stubborn that they don't stop until they get better.
That's how I did it. I had years where I had no gigs. Yeah. I would do my hometown stuff, and although I'm writing emails and saying, hey, if you want me to come do your thing, I'll do it for free. I'll just do it for free. Yeah. Just give me a chance. Yeah. Nobody even wanted me for free. And so I just keep doing it, and finally people started picking me up for free. Right. And there is, I know a lot of people say don't ever work for exposure, but you have to in certain fields.
I actually wrote an article about that once, or it was part of that, as I was saying, when you're getting started, it's okay to undercharge, even if it's free.
I think so.
I certainly understand the sentiment that you should always charge for what you're good at. But when you're first starting and you're not very good at it...
I'm here to tell you, if a student fresh out of graphic design school asked me to pay the same as someone who's been a graphic designer for 5 years, I'm going to laugh at them.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be.
I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
That's the way all work is. You don't just go into a business and get paid your highest rate as a CPA. I mean, you have to build up.
Right. Now, 10 years in, I'm getting paid enough to actually see it pay a bill or two a month. Maybe.
Oh. Jason says, don't you say not to work for exposure media?
I do. I say that all the time. But I don't say that to people who are doing it for the first time.
No, yeah. Sometimes you just have to. I mean, when you don't have any credentials.
Yeah, I mean, but as an announcer, the only way... Because I don't videotape myself. I rarely have anybody around to save an example of my work. So in absence of being able to get gigs, you can't get a gig until people have seen your work. You can't have people see your work until you get a gig. I have to find and pick and choose these things that I can both do for free for exposure and not give away stuff for other people's profit. So for me... And I love doing it to this day. I've got one coming up in October. I love doing charity events.
Yeah.
I've done the silliest, most fun charity events.
Yeah.
And the people that come to these events are the more affluent people who are looking to donate to these charities.
Right.
And these are often the people that are going to be doing an event or hosting a special thing where they're going to need my services. Right. So it generally works out. And I'm having a great time working for free.
And honestly, that's the thing, too. If you love what you do, working for free, though it may not be ideal, you're still doing what you love. I've done plenty. I've done, website copy for nonprofits. I love doing it. I get paid to do it. But when I was first starting out, that was a great way to get clients. Right. And I felt good about doing it. I liked doing it. And because I liked doing it, it wasn't like... ugh, I gotta write this shit and I'm not even get paid for it. It's like,
and that's me. I like doing what I do. I was walking the dog. It's been quite a few years ago now. There was a bank down at the bottom of the hill. It's gone now. They make it into an amphitheater. But we were walking down there, and these two guys, homeless, were betting.
Betting.
They were betting.
Okay.
Betting.
I heard betting.
They were betting each other on whose cockroach could win. They were racing cockroaches. And and I was walking the dog, and I was like, "You guys are racing cockroaches. That is the most awesome thing I've ever seen." And like, yeah, we're having a pretty good time. They were blitzed, and I was like, "You know what you need? You need somebody to call the play-by-play." And I started doing a little play-by-play like I would for the street races or something like that, for the car race. And they were just laughing. And then me and the dog went on. That was it. I get a kick out of it. It makes me laugh. And I get to meet such great people. It's amazing the people you get to meet in my line of work. Everybody's at a gig to have a good time.
Yeah.
And my job is to not fuck that up.
Yeah.
So I go in and try to make everyone have a better time.
Yeah.
And to do that, you just have to be a little unselfish and honest.
And there's a point at which, and I think you've experienced this, the point you're succeeding is when people start talking to you and they know who you are and you don't know them.
Yeah.
Like when people started saying to me, like, "Oh, you're the writer." That was the first time, like, I think the first time someone said it to me, I was just barely scraping along, but I had no idea who they were. And I was like, yes, I am. And it was the best thing to happen to me that year. I was like...
Your audiences are a lot less drunks than mine are. So I'm walking down the street and I go, Mr. Voodoo Man! Hey, it's the hat dude. It's Mr. Microphone Man.
I like Microphone Man.
I get that a lot.
That sounds like the worst superhero in the world.
I'm telling you, very often I get Mr. Microphone Man.
Mr. Microphone Man has a ring to it.
I just say hi and go talk to him. And then Saturday, I'd been calling this roller derby bout in Chattanooga, and I had to do this. It was a wacky race for people and get the audience involved. And afterwards, I told my co-announcer, like, you guys just go. I'm going to take a break. I went and got a drink and walked around a little bit, started talking to people. And this little girl, she had Down syndrome, comes up to me. She had been in the little race. And the moment she saw me, arms open, she wanted a big hug. And I was like, big hug. And me and this kid ended up playing for like 10 minutes. We were just goofing around.
Yeah.
And her mom goes, "You're a great microphone man."
Microphone Man.
Thank you. And the little girl was like, "Microphone Man, microphone man."
It sounds so like 1930s or something. Like, he's a movie man.
That's right. Check out this guy. He's a microphone man.
I love it. Oh, man.
He slaps a bomber down on the side and rolls on in.
Oh, man. That's amazing.
I was fascinated with my first dramatic interest. Before I even started watching TV, I was a little kid and I discovered old radio dramas from the 30s. And I don't know, I had a cassette tape of them.
Yeah.
And so there was a time when I was like 6. I was like, "Hey, Ma. Hey, Dad. You having a swell time?"
I was watching, have you seen, Moon Boy?
Yes. Yes.
I just watched the last episode
I've
with
got
my
like
mom.
2 to go.
And, you're not finished with it.
Not yet. Go ahead.
can't
Go
tell
ahead.
us.
That's okay. Go ahead.
No, just in the last episode, Paul Rudd is in the last episode.
Oh, right on.
And he plays George Gershwin. That's why it's on my brain, is that sort of,
Yeah.
kind of,
Right.
I
That
love
was
it.
actually... There's a story behind that accent that came up. In radio at the time, the fidelity was so bad, and I may have to look this up and tell this again later. The fidelity was so bad that a guy in the Midwest developed a new type of pronunciation.
Was that the Mid-Atlantic?
It was a Mid-Atlantic accent.
Sort of kind of poshy English, but
Right.
also
It was exactly how, like, the English accent that the genteel English accent we're used to is only about 100 years old, or 150 years old, where the working people wanted to sound like the really the aristocrats, and so they started putting on the airs of proper diction. And so before that, it was all pretty much Cockney was almost the standard.
Right.
And it was the same way in America in the 30s, because these radio people all listened to this guy in the Midwest, and it was so new.
Yeah.
Other people would hear it and go, "Well, I guess that's the way I'm supposed to do it." So, ladies and hello, Mr. Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea.
Whoa.
And it just became a delivery that was a pseudo-English.
Yeah.
And so I was fascinated, and I did a huge report on it in college. I was a communications major.
Speaking of accents, someday on the show, I want to talk about the Appalachian accent.
Oh.
Because I don't hear our accents until I rewatch it back.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about it at some point, just because it's not Southern. It's not a Southern accent.
It's a little different, right?
It's different. And not necessarily in a good way. It's like not the sexiest accent.
No. And I'm fully, as a person that makes a living off of my voice, I'm fully aware of my accent. Because I, at the age of 20, lost it.
Yeah.
When I was 20, I was so obsessed with, I wanted to get into, I decided I was going to be a TV guy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be talent, and so you can't have an accent. I want to get rid of this ridiculous accent. Now, if you hear my sisters talk, they sound like they're from up in the hills somewhere.
It's my family.
But
part of my family.
When I hit my 30s, I was like, I just don't sound like anyone I know. I feel like I'm putting on a persona instead of talking like, I feel like I sound weird to myself, without any accent at all. And so I literally spent years reacquiring a an accent from my family, and now it's just kind of gone. Whenever I'm not working, when I'm relaxed and at home, it's bad. I know it is. And I talk to announcers from all over the world, and they'll remark on it, and they're like,
"Oh no, well I try when we do this. I do my business,
right."
But then when I hear it back, I'm like, oh my god, if that's how I sound when I'm like conducting business, how do I sound when I'm just hanging out?
Right, and things like rice and nice, and or and or, all those things are tricky.
And saying like, I don't, you sort of eat the tea. If you're saying it like, oh, I don't know.
You don't.
I don't know.
Right. Jamie agreed that it is different.
It is different.
Different.
It is. My mom's name is Terry. Her mom is, I think, from South Carolina, gray, just sort of both. It says Turry. Turry.
I've heard that.
Turry.
Yeah.
And that's why I never think I have an accent, is because people around here who really have accents. Yeah. But then when I hear mine, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of folks that just walked in out of the rain, and they didn't get a lot of education. They didn't get a lot of exposure to books and television, and so they've got the pure unadulterated East Tennessee accent, and I think it's great. I speak East Tennessee. It's fine with me.
When I worked at Good Samaritan, there were a few times where people came who I couldn't even understand. And I'm from here, and I would be like, I'm sorry, say it one more time. I don't know. But it would explain something, because when I've been to Germany twice now, and I speak German, and most Germans are not willing to speak German to me. And
interesting.
I'm starting to realize that maybe it's because they don't understand me. Maybe it could be my accent.
Your East Tennessee German.
My East Tennessee German is not good enough.
All you can do is go with it.
That's what they all speak English.
Only give them essential information in German. That'll teach them.
That's right.
Well, we're running out of time. We only got about 10 minutes left.
I know.
Who's left in the chat room? Let's take a peek.
Well, no, Daddy Jamie Dove is there.
Daddy Jamie Dove.
I looked over here and I saw Big Daddy Voodoo. Yeah. So, Daddy Dove. Daddy
Dove.
Is here.
I've heard him called Daddy Dove.
Oh my god. Well, he was carrying his cute little puppy in a papoose. It's not a puppy.
Oh.
But, or a papoose-like thing that was super cute during little Chicago.
All I remember is a blur of moving from place to place in Little Chicago. Yeah. That's it.
I know, Jenkins was there. I don't know if they're still there.
It looks like there's a few people left on, but I think we're going to...
Oh, yeah, the Daddy Dove.
Daddy Dove.
Please make the Daddy Dove. I don't care what's on it.
You can't do the lovey-dovey, but
you can do
the Daddy Dove could happen. I'll trust you on this, Jamie. Oh, there's Steve and Stephanie.
Good. Glad you all are still there.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We've just been talking entertainment, I guess, for most of the night.
Yeah, really. Tonight's the entertainment section. Two things we love, movie and entertainment. I mean, food and entertainment.
We really like doing this. We have a good time. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we weren't doing this on the internet, we'd probably be having the same conversations. Yeah. Just watching Rick and Morty.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember, the Patreon is patreon.com/hometown. Just $1 or $2.
Should we mention... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Should we mention again Renee's skater rink?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we mentioned it once before, but I want to make sure...
On Sunday, from 12 to 5 p.m., there is a...
What did you call it, though?
Yeah, what is it called?
I gotta look it up. That's you.
At the Johnson City Skating Rink, there will be a lot of, like, Roden and Fields, Mary Kay... A bazaar. It's a bazaar of sorts. And you can go, free admission. You can go to get...
Here we go.
Things.
It's all day. It's called Shop at the Rink.
Shop at the Rink.
And of course, Facebook won't load it.
But it's all those sort of like they've got Jamberry is going to be there. It says Lulu Row, but that's confusing me because I'm pretty sure it's Lululemon. Like all of these are like those high quality you know.
I have a friend that sells Rodent Fields. She's a teacher, and teachers they need all the extra income they can get, and she's doing all right with it. I mean,
nice.
She about 25-30% of her entire Facebook output is devoted to it, though.
I think they're an Australian company.
Oh, interesting.
I only know that because I have Australian clients.
Right.
Avon, you can just go. It's free admission for shoppers. Honestly, just go. There will be food there. You can buy some food. Look up some cool stuff. Pampered Chef stuff is always cool.
Pampered Chef. I can't even look at that stuff.
I know.
I mean, you've seen what I've been like with a Instapot.
That's true. You can't go. Don't go.
I have a problem. I like kitchen gadgets an awful lot. I like eating an awful lot.
Eating is good.
Although I will say that I've taken all the money I normally eat out with, and I've been pouring it into my Instant Pot.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually got all these leftovers now. So I guess I can't complain. It's more efficient. Again, another episode maybe for the Instant Pot.
Instant cooking with Shannon.
I'll show you some good stuff. Again, patreon.com/hometown. Help us out. Every episode, you'll donate $1, $2 to us.
Pay for each dimple.
Pay one for each dimple. I have dimples. You just have to trust me on this.
So, yeah.
And at the end of the month, they take that out. And we're gonna have some, once folks start signing up for it, we're going to have some more exclusive content that we'll put on the Patreon site. I'll do an audio podcast about what I'm doing to prepare for it. As I'm doing it, nobody's going to listen, but I feel better talking about it. And also, check us out at the Facebook page, Hometown East Tennessee. You can find me at Big Daddy Voodoo on Facebook and at BigDaddyVoodoo.com. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's Stephanie. Love you too, Stephanie.
We love you.
And you can find out more about Bailey
at BaileyWrites.com.
And I think I have a Medium page somewhere, but I haven't written to it in months.
I'm on Medium.
I was really into it for a while, but I guess when I had the heart attack and I wrote some stuff about it, and I never finished. I got to the most painful raw part of it,
and then you stopped.
And I stopped. I just maybe I'll get ready to write that story again one day. But that's on Medium. Yeah. I do all kinds of stuff. I just got to create stuff.
But I'm Medium at Bailey Buckner.
And her stuff's really good. It's worth reading. Thanks. I like your poetry a lot.
Thanks.
That's it for this week. Hometown East Tennessee Extra Part 2. We're going to shut it down, and we will see you again next Thursday, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
I have nothing profound to say. I said it with a lot of gravity, so it sounded profound. Good night, everybody.